Good afternoon. Welcome to the lecture for week 2 in textiles class. To get your attendance credit this week, you need to have watched either the live version or the recorded version of the lecture for the week. Since we do not have a meeting time that everyone can join us in the live classroom, this is a recorded version of the lecture. It will be posted by Monday evening. You can watch that and then write up a 150-word summary over the lecture and what was covered and submit that on the assignment link on My Course Connection. This is worth 10 points to your attendance grade. You must also take part in the forum discussion by Friday of each week and then post a response to one of your peers' posting. Peers is one of your classmates' postings. If you are the first one to post on Friday, you will have to return no later than Saturday to respond. If you are not the first one, then there'll be a post there for you to already respond to when you log in on Friday. The forum discussions could range from 20 to 25 points depending on topics covered. All of that goes towards your attendance grade. It's very important at minimum to log in at least 2 times. This group logs in quite a bit. I am very proud of you. It takes that in order to stay up on all the work, make sure you're covering everything. I always see more success in my students' grades that log in more than just twice a week. Now, in week 2, we will look at how yarns are made into fabrics, or the fibers, basically, that were covered in week 1 are made into yarns, and then how the yarns then are made into different fabrics. We'll have a focus on woven fabrics, a chapter on knitted fabrics, and then there is another category, we just lump them all together and call them other fabrics. In understanding your textiles, what you covered with the first week, understanding the characteristics associated with each type of fiber is very unique, and that characteristic will remain with that fiber all the way through the process until the end product. But now, because of different yarn types and different ways of fabricating the materials, new characteristics are also added. They may counter some of the original characteristics of a fiber, or they may enhance it and work with it. So we will see more and more factors that will affect the way a fabric comes to its ultimate end and how it's going to work and service as a product. The type of yarns twisted to form the fabric has a big play in it, and then in which way the yarns are assembled into the fabric is very key in your different fabrics. And then week 3 is when we'll focus on the finishes that get applied to fabric after its construction that continues to add to or affect the final product and how it works as a garment in the apparel industry. You'll still be using your textbook. Remember, it is a e-book, electronic book. I think everybody has now got access to that. Please let me know immediately if you haven't, but I have heard so far everybody has. And then using your swatch kit. This week, more than last, there are references throughout the chapters about going back to specific swatches in your swatch kit. So that is very important for you to have those already labeled out, numbered out 1 through 126, and each of the swatches, make sure you don't double up, that could happen, assembled or taped into place. And then as you go through, make your notes in there. It's really good because as a designer, you have to know what your fabrics are. You have to understand what is the right kind of fabric for certain kind of garments and looks. What is a bottom weight? What is a top weight? What's a medium weight? Understanding the soft drapiness or the crisp starchiness of different fabrics and knowing what they're going to work best in. And if you're designing for end use specifics, you need to understand the characteristics of different fibers and fabrics. Remember, your fiber characteristics follow a fabric through. So if you have a cotton fiber, well, some of those miscellaneous notes, you will know that it is comfortable next to the skin. It absorbs moisture well, it dyes easily, it's easy to care for. These are all the things that your mind has to just know about certain kinds of content of fibers, and then as you're learning this week, the fabrication of different fabrics. The chapter readings this week will cover Chapter 5, Yarns, Chapter 6, Woven Fabrics, Chapter 7, Knit Fabrics, and Chapter 8, Other Fabrics. I have also tried to do a narrated lecture slideshow that I provide in class. Throughout the slideshow, I have some of the activities that are along with the reading highlighted. In class, we do stop and take the time to pull these swatches out and do as the activity says, to look real closely or unravel some of the yarns to look at them very closely. So for you, stop the lecture at those times and take a look at those fibers and fabrics and swatches as the activity says, because that's how you're going to get hands-on experience and learn about it. Remember, your major projects in this class is one, assembling the swatch book that comes with your textbook. The other is doing further research into a fiber, writing a paper on it, and pulling together, presenting a slideshow. I do ask that you email me the fiber that you intend to be researching, and pick one of the fibers that were covered in either Chapter 3, Natural Fibers, or Chapter 4, which was Manufactured Fibers. And in fact, since this is due on Tuesday, if you would like to include in your lecture summary the fiber you intend to look further into, that's a great place to go ahead and put it in there. That'll work too, in lieu of emailing me. And let's see, next, our other activities this week, aside from the chapter review questions, please make sure you check the assignments, because I may not have picked all the questions at the end of the chapter, very random ones, very specific. So make sure you read through those first before doing the work of all of them, trying to save you some time there. And then the other activities, a burn test, a dye test, and the weaving samples. In the unit for woven fabrics, that's where the activity of weaving samples, you're provided in your kit, some paper forms. There is a demonstration video in the assignment. Click on it, watch that, pause it as you need to, back up, rewatch it, whatever you need to be able to create your woven samples of a plain weave, a twill weave, and a satin weave. Just 3 different ones. Still, you probably ought to set aside a good, 40, 45 minutes for that. We do it as class activity. I may have lots of people working on it. Some get done faster than others. Now, the burn test and the dye test. Both of these, you were provided swatch samples in your kit. They were labeled in different Ziploc bags. For the burn test, you have been provided a little candle. It is an unscented candle. That is very key, because it's very important that you are in an area where you will be able to smell the differences as your different fabrics or fibers burn. That is a telltale sign of what that fiber just might be. Be sure you read through the burn chart. It's telling you, things you're looking for. How does the flame react? How does the fabric react when it gets close to the flame? Or does the fabric have to go all the way into the flame to have a reaction? What color is the flame? Does it sputter and spit? Does it flare up? Back to the color. Is it yellow, white? Is it blue? Does it, change different things? There are a few fibers that have very distinct smells to them as well. So look at all those different criterias and make notes as to what each one of them are doing with each of that criteria. What's the flame doing? How does it react? What's it smell like? Maybe there is no smell. How does, each of those work together? Um, the burn test probably total um, 15, 20 minutes. If you think you were provided also tweezers so you can nip off a corner to try that. And then as you can see, my demonstration or my page up here shows some of the burnt edges of the fabrics so that you can take a look at some of those. Now the dye test does take a little bit longer, but some of that, the fabrics are sitting in the dye in, some disposable cups. So maybe while those are sitting there, then you do your burn test at that time, because otherwise the dye test, I think they have to sit in there 20 minutes. Just sounds perfect. You do need to use hot water. There is a recipe put together in the little package that also has the dye powder. You were provided rubber gloves. The dye is not toxic to your skin, it just will turn it blue for a few days. Make sure you wear your gloves for that and follow those directions throughout. All of those samples are all white, they're different fabrics, and they're going to take dye differently, and it's going to be very key in what fibers take dye easily, what fibers don't. Take a look back at your characteristics of your fibers. All right, I want to thank you for tuning in and listening. Please don't forget to write up your summary. If you do have any questions, you can email me at mwamigo@clarysagcollege.com. You can also text me on my cell 918-704-4525. I try to make sure I get back to you if I get those by 9:30. And my office phone is 918-298-8200, and I am in the office after 2 p.m. up till 3:30 or 4 on different given days. So have a great week. Good luck with it all. Take care.